I wasn't supposed to be here. The hallway smelled faintly of lilies and hotel carpet cleaner, a scent that made me feel 12 again, trailing behind my father on business trips. Now I was 23, standing outside room 608 with my hands in my pockets, pretending I had a reason to knock. Her message had been simple: meet me here at 8. Don't be late. No emoji. No explanation. Just her name at the top of the screen, Clara. She had been my father's partner for almost a decade. Family dinners, holidays, the polite nods in the kitchen when I came home from college. She had always seemed untouchable, smiling but distant, like a portrait in a frame you're not allowed to touch. And then, last winter, she and my father ended things quietly. I hadn't seen her since. Until 2 nights ago, when she showed up at the cafe where I worked, ordered a tea she didn't drink, and said, "We should talk." The elevator behind me opened and closed. My heart hammered as if I were the one doing something wrong. I told myself it was just a conversation, but the reflection in the brass panel beside the door betrayed me, shirt tucked in too neatly, hair pushed back, the nervous way I kept rolling my thumb over my palm. I knocked. The door opened only a crack. Clara peeked out, hair loose, not the polished bun I remembered. "You came," she said softly. Her eyes held me there. I nodded, suddenly shy. "You asked me to." She let me in without another word. The room was dim except for a single lamp near the bed. Her coat was draped over the chair, heels kicked aside. Everything about the space felt like an exhale. "You look older," she said after a pause, as though testing the sound of my voice now. "You look—" I started then stopped. The word beautiful hovered but felt too heavy. "Different." She smiled faintly, turning toward the window. "It's strange seeing you like this." I moved to stand beside her. The city glowed beneath us, traffic lights, a few umbrellas moving along the wet pavement. My reflection lined up with hers in the glass, and for a moment it looked like we were already together. "Why did you ask me here?" My voice cracked on the last word. She didn't answer right away. Her fingers toyed with the edge of the curtain. "I wanted to see if you'd come." "I did." Another silence. The hotel's heating system hissed. Her hand brushed mine, maybe by accident, maybe not, and she didn't pull away. My pulse jumped. "You were always kind to me," she murmured, eyes still on the window. "Even when things between your father and me were complicated." I swallowed hard. "I noticed you were unhappy," I said. "I just didn't know what to do about it." Now she turned fully toward me. We were close enough for me to smell the faint citrus of her perfume. "And now?" she asked. I opened my mouth, but before I could speak, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. The screen lit up with a name I couldn't see. She glanced at it, then back at me, and her expression changed, uncertain, caught between decision and retreat. She reached for the phone. My hand moved slightly toward hers without thinking. Our fingers hovered a breath apart. The buzzing stopped. Then, from the hallway, came a sharp knock on the door. The knock on the door stopped as suddenly as it started. Clara didn't move at first. Her hand hovered above the phone like a coin about to drop. Then, with a slow breath, she set it back on the nightstand. "Room service," a voice called faintly from the hallway. She pressed her palm to her forehead. "I forgot I ordered tea." Her laugh was short, brittle. I crossed to the door, opened it just enough to take the tray, thanked the server, and set it on the dresser. 2 cups, steam rising. The kind of domestic scene that shouldn't feel intimate but did. Clara sat on the edge of the bed, smoothing the skirt of her dress. "I'm sorry," she said. "This must feel strange. I'm not sure what this is," I admitted, sitting in the chair opposite her. "I just know you wanted me here." She looked down at her hands. "When I met your father, I was 36. I thought I'd finally found someone steady. But even then I knew it wouldn't last. She hesitated. I stayed because I didn't want to start over again. I watched the steam curl from the tea, remembering how she used to set 2 mugs on the counter at our house, one for my father, one for me, the smell of orange peel drifting through the kitchen. You never seemed happy, I said quietly. I wasn't unhappy either, she said, then shook her head. That's not true. I was lonely. The word landed between us. I felt my own confession pushing at my chest. I've been lonely too. At school. Work. Everywhere. I'd see you at dinner and think. I stopped. Her eyes lifted to mine. Think what? That you were the only one who noticed me, I said. My voice was steadier than I expected. She blinked slowly, as if weighing whether to pull back or lean in. You were a kid then, she murmured. I'm not now. Silence filled the room, heavy but not hostile. The age gap, the history, the unspoken disapproval of my father, each fact lined up like a wall between us, and still neither of us stood up to leave. I shouldn't have asked you here, she said finally. But her tone lacked conviction. You did, I said. Her fingers trembled as she reached for her cup. She didn't drink, just held it. Do you remember the night it snowed in April? She asked suddenly. The power went out. Your father was stuck at the office. I smiled faintly. We played cards by candlelight. You beat me every time. You let me, I said. The memory softened something in her face. She set the cup down and brushed a loose strand of hair behind her ear. When her hand dropped, it grazed mine on the armrest of the chair. Neither of us moved it away. For a heartbeat we just sat there, hands barely touching, the hotel room quiet except for our breaths. The touch wasn't an accident anymore. Her fingers lingered on mine. The air between us felt thin. Then she pulled her hand back as if she touched a live wire. I can't, she whispered. I straightened in the chair. Can't what? She stood and crossed to the window. This. Whatever this is. You're too young. You're his son. People would. Her voice trailed off. You invited me, I said quietly. I know, she said. I shouldn't have. I pushed up from the chair. Then why did you? She turned, eyes sharp but wet. Because I've been thinking about you. For months. Because you look at me like I'm still alive. Silence. The hotel clock ticked faintly. I took a step toward her. She didn't move. You think I haven't been thinking about you? I said. You're all I think about. Her breath caught. Stop. But she didn't step back when I reached her. We stood inches apart. I could smell the tea cooling on the dresser. Then, her phone buzzed again. Loud in the quiet. She snatched it up, thumb hovering. The screen flashed my father's name. My stomach dropped. He's calling you? She nodded, biting her lip. He called twice already tonight. Does he know I'm here? I don't think so. He thinks I'm out with a friend. The buzz stopped. She set the phone face down, pressing her palm over it like she could bury it. We should stop, she said. Do you want to? My voice was lower now. She hesitated. No. A knock rattled the door, this time sharper. Clara? A male voice called. It's me. Her eyes widened. She gestured me toward the bathroom. Go. I shook my head. Who is it? A colleague, she whispered. He thinks I'm alone. Another knock. Clara, open up, she whispered. Please. I ducked into the bathroom, heart pounding. Through the door I heard her open the main door just a crack. Hi, she said brightly, the voice she used at dinner parties. I'm busy. Busy? The man said. You left your scarf at the bar. I was worried. I'm fine, she said. Thank you. Good night. Pause. Then the door clicked shut. I heard her exhale hard. I stepped out. Who was that? No one, she said, but her hands were shaking. I crossed the room in 2 strides, took her wrists gently. This is going to get messy. She looked up at me, eyes full of something halfway between panic and relief. I know. Neither of us moved. Her pulse thudded against my fingers. For a moment I thought she'd push me away. Instead she leaned in, not a kiss, just her forehead brushing mine, a trembling exhale between us. The door was still unlocked. The tea had gone cold. Outside the window, a siren passed, its sound rising then fading, like a warning we couldn't quite hear. Clara's forehead still rested against mine, our breaths mingling. I could feel her shaking, not from cold, but from holding something in. She pulled back first, crossing her arms like she was trying to hold herself together. This isn't a game, she said. Her voice cracked on the last word. I know, I said. It never was. She paced to the window, palms pressed to the glass. You don't understand what this would do to me. To you. To your father. I've thought about nothing else, I said. My heart was hammering. Every time I tried to stop thinking about you, I'd find myself back at your door. She turned. You're 23, she said. You think you know what you want. I do, I cut in. I want you. Her eyes closed. For a second I thought she'd scream. Instead she laughed, short and bitter. Do you know how many times I've imagined you saying that? And hated myself for it. I stepped closer. So you've imagined it? Yes, she whispered. Her hands trembled at her sides. And I hate that I have. The words hung between us like a match waiting to drop. She backed up until her legs touched the bed. I was supposed to be the adult, she murmured. I was supposed to protect you from this. You did, I said. Until you didn't. She looked up sharply. And now? And now we're here. Her phone vibrated again on the nightstand. Neither of us reached for it. Outside, rain began to tap against the window. It sounded like a clock running out. I saw you at the cafe before I even said hello, she said suddenly. You were wiping tables, humming under your breath. And I thought, what if I'd met him first? Before your father. Before everything. I've thought that too, I said softly. She pressed a hand over her mouth. You shouldn't say that. But it's true. Her eyes flashed, fear, desire, something darker. If you touch me right now, I won't stop you, she said. And I'll hate myself for it. My breath caught. I don't want you to hate yourself. Then leave, she said. Now. Before we cross a line we can't uncross. I moved closer anyway, one slow step at a time. She didn't retreat. Her back was against the wall, her eyes locked on mine. Every inch of the room seemed to hum. I can't leave, I said. Then we're already lost, she whispered. My hand rose, almost without my permission, stopping just short of her cheek. Her lips parted, a soundless inhale. She swayed the tiniest bit forward, enough that a strand of her hair brushed my fingers. We both froze, halfway between decision and disaster, the space between us smaller than a breath. Her hair still brushed my fingers when the sharp knock came again. Not hesitant this time, insistent. We both startled. She moved first, slipping out from under my hand and grabbing her phone. Her face went pale. What? I whispered. She showed me the screen. A new message. I'm downstairs. We need to talk. D. My father's initial. He's here? My voice cracked. She nodded once, eyes darting toward the door. He wasn't supposed to be back in town until tomorrow. My stomach flipped. He knows. I don't know what he knows, she said. But he's in the lobby. I took a step back, heart hammering. Did you tell him we were meeting? No, she said quickly. I told him I had a work dinner. He must have followed me or… She broke off, rubbing her temple. God, what am I doing? The rain outside had turned heavier, streaking the window like blurred handwriting. My shirt stuck to my back with sweat. We can leave, I said. Now. There's a service stair, I can't. She cut me off. If he's here, it's because he already suspects. Running would make it worse. The hotel hallway seemed to grow louder, a distant elevator bell, muted footsteps. The walls felt thinner. Everything we'd been holding in cracked a little. You still love him? I asked before I could stop myself. Her head jerked up. No. That's not… She swallowed hard. This isn't about love. It's about what we'll destroy if we go any further. I felt something inside me harden. So that's it? You just go back to pretending? She flinched like I'd hit her. Don't make this cruel. I'm not trying to, I said softer. But you asked me here. You started this. I know. Her voice barely rose above the rain. And I've been lying to myself ever since. We stood on opposite sides of the room now, the tea gone cold between us. My pulse felt like it was in my throat. What lie? I asked. She looked right at me. That you were just lonely. That I was just curious. That no one would get hurt. Her confession landed heavier than the knock on the door. For a second I saw us from outside, a young man, a woman twice his age, a hotel room, a phone buzzing with a father's name. The story everyone would tell if this got out, a story neither of us could control. I can't undo wanting you, she said quietly. But I can still stop us from ruining your life. The elevator bell dinged again outside. We both turned toward the door. Footsteps. A shadow paused against the frosted glass panel. Clara? My father's voice said. Open up. Her hand shot out and grabbed mine, tight, nails pressing into my skin. Her eyes met mine, terror, longing, decision all at once. Her nails dug into my palm as my father's shadow lingered on the other side of the door. For a second we didn't breathe. The knock came again, softer this time. Clara, he said. Please. She let go of me and stepped back, her face strained. I have to open it. No, I whispered. Not yet. But she was already moving. She cracked the door open just enough for her voice to carry. I'm busy, David. Now isn't a good time. He hesitated. You're not alone. Her throat worked. I am. Silence. Then his footsteps retreated down the hall. We waited until the elevator bell chimed and the hallway went quiet again. Clara closed the door and leaned against it, eyes shut. He knows, she murmured. He'll always know now. I crossed the room and touched her shoulder. She didn't pull away. What do we do? I asked. She opened her eyes. Tell him the truth. End this. Or… She swallowed. Run. It sounded ridiculous, but for a heartbeat I imagined it, the two of us slipping out the service stairwell, the rain swallowing our tracks, some town where nobody knew who we were. I can't pretend this never happened, I said. I can't either. Her voice cracked. But I also can't watch you lose your family because of me. You're not stealing me from him, I said. I'm not his property. That's not what I mean. She took my face in both hands now, palms cool against my cheeks. You're still building your life. I've already burned mine down once. Don't let me be another fire. I closed my eyes, leaning into her touch. Then what are we? She searched my face. Two people who found each other in the wrong order. We stood like that, her hands on my cheeks, my forehead against hers. Outside, sirens and rain braided into a single hiss. I can tell him, I said quietly. I'll take the blame. Her thumb brushed my lip, trembling. You're braver than I am, she whispered. But if you tell him, it won't matter who takes the blame. We'll both lose. Then we walk away? I asked. She hesitated, eyes glistening. Maybe for now. Maybe until we can meet without hiding. It wasn't the answer I wanted, but it was an answer. The room smelled of cold tea and wet asphalt. I stepped back first. You'll call me? Yes, she said. When it's safe. We held each other's gaze a long moment, too long for strangers, too short for lovers. Then I opened the door and slipped into the empty hallway, the echo of my footsteps mixing with the rain. Behind me, the lock clicked. 6 months later, I saw her again. Not in a hotel or a cafe, but on a sun-bleached pier where tourists queued for ice cream. She was leaning on the railing, hair pulled back, sunglasses hiding her eyes. I almost turned around, but she spotted me first. You look different, she said when I reached her. Her voice was steady but softer than I remembered. I cut my hair, I said, and left my father's house. She nodded slowly. I heard. We stood side by side, looking at the water. Seagulls circled, the smell of salt and diesel hanging in the air. For a while either of us spoke. The months apart had made the silence less dangerous, but no less full. Did he hate me? She asked finally. No, I said. He hated me for a while. Then he just stopped talking about it. Stopped talking about you. She gave a small, sad smile. That sounds like him. I shoved my hands in my pockets. I kept waiting for you to call. I wanted to, she said. But every time I picked up the phone, I thought about what we'd done to each other. I thought maybe the kindest thing I could do was let you go. That's not what I wanted, I said quietly. I know, she said. It's not what I wanted either. A child ran past us chasing a kite, its string tangling briefly around the railing before breaking free. Clara watched it climb higher into the sky. Sometimes I think about that night, she said. The rain. The tea we didn't drink. How close we came. I think about it too, I admitted. But not with regret. She turned then, lowering her sunglasses. Her eyes were tired but clear. You're still so young, she said, but without reproach this time. I'm older than I was, I said. A breeze lifted her hair. She reached out and touched my sleeve, just a light pressure, enough to feel. Maybe someday, when there's no lies left between us, we'll have a real chance, she said. Not in secret. Not in a hotel room. I met her gaze. I'll wait, I said. Don't, she whispered, though she didn't pull her hand away. Live. And if our paths cross again. She let the sentence drift. We stood like that for a moment, the sound of gulls, the smell of salt, her fingers still resting on my arm. Then she stepped back. Take care of yourself, she said. You too. I watched her walk down the pier until the crowd swallowed her. I didn't follow. For the first time it felt like a real beginning, not an ending. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next?